the First Descendant on our topic first, on our list first.
You know what? I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna own up to this one, and I'm gonna say that I brought this one to the table. And that was just me primarily watching the trailer, and then the more and more that I looked into this game, I was like, this is not a game for me. So hopefully you are super excited about this game. Cause I'm not.
Yeah, I as I was watching this, I was like, "Why is Dave interested in this game? It's a loot and shoot open world. This does not scream Dave whatsoever." But here's the thing. I think it has a lot of really cool elements and a lot of uniqueness to it. However, at its core, it's kind of a copy and paste loot and shoot. Like there's nothing that like when I was reading it and doing my research, there was nothing that was blowing me away. And we can kind of get into it as we talk about what the beta people thought too, because this game has already went through beta. Um, and to me, I just feel like it doesn't have something like groundbreaking to set it apart from a different loot and shoot game, if that makes sense.
And I 1000% agree because we could talk about it a little bit more in depth after the trailer, but yeah, I was like, okay, so I go into it thinking like it's gonna be one thing, and then I start doing more and more research, and I'm like, okay, this is not what I thought it was. But I mean, I didn't immediately check out. You know what I mean? I'm like, well, let's see, let's see what there is going on here, right? And it's like the more and more I just kept searching, and I just kept digging, and like trying to find any like glimmer of like something that would make this unique, and I just was at a total loss. I just like I feel like I know everything about this game, and I can't uncover that last piece of the puzzle where I can be like, here we go, here's something like innovative or like groundbreaking, you know?
Right. And so here's the trailer. This one is the one that was shown at the Game Awards of 2023. And like right off the
Yeah.
bat, like it has like some intriguing elements to it. You look at it, it's like, oh, like what is gonna happen? Like it seems like it's gonna be a big open world, which I think it is. And then you have this cyber person or person in a cyber suit standing
And you
below
have
this massive looking like I don't know how to describe her, just like some massive character.
it's like a massive mech or something,
Yeah.
maybe is like probably the best way I can describe it.
Hmm.
But like, yeah, you're watching the trailer right now, and it's like, you see all of these people, and they're kind of down in the water. If you guys are just listening on the Spotify, and you get that quintessential moment of like the gigantic boss dropping down into
Yeah.
frame, and you're like, yo, this is about to get real, because you can tell that these four people in the water are like angry. And then there's all this footage of you like skimming across the water and like jumping off rocks, and they have these weird like lasso things. And dude, there's this shot that's coming up right here
Yeah.
if you guys are just listening on the Spotify. There's this shot where they do like the slingshot thing, and then yeah, this shot right here, the
Yeah.
slingshot thing, and then he's up above and like shooting the gun down on this monster, and I'm just like, dude, this game is gonna be so sick. Like, look at these like badass boss battles that are happening. And then we started doing a little deep dive, and I was like, nah, bruh.
Yeah, not for Dave. And I think part of it is like, unfortunately, that trailer is just like a cinematic trailer of like what they want the game to feel like. And yeah, there's some big bosses in this game, and it looks like it should be really cool. And then so I didn't play the beta, but a lot of the feedback from the beta is essentially that the leveling system is too monotonous. The game feels bland with no characteristics, which we've already kind of talked about that, and that's kind of what we're seeing. There's a sense of repetitiveness in the mission and objectives. And obviously, this is just the like beta. Things can change before it's released in summer of this year. But this is what they had to say about it when they were doing through the beta. Um, the thing that there's a lot of positive to it was the gunplay of the game felt really good, especially like between different classes. So like a light machine gun felt different than like a submachine gun, like and then a sniper and a railgun, like those felt different. But where their complaint was with the guns is that guns within the same class didn't feel any different. So you can find this awesome gun, and it just feels the same as the other SMG that you have. Like that's where they said it didn't feel different. However, like the developers come on and said like at full release, like there will be legendary weapons, so the loot you can pick up there will be legendary, and those will have perks. Um, and so I guess like that's pretty cool. But like to me, like watching the gameplay, watching people that have played the beta, like I did some videos of those, it just didn't seem super exciting to me, if that makes sense.
Just a little bit about the game. So if you guys don't know anything about the game, this is like Adam said, this is a loot and shoot from Nexon Games, and this is a four-player co-op with a semi-open world. Um, and I think I think it looks really cool. And I know I talked badly about it, but I did try to find some like kind of shining light to it. So one positive thing that I think is this: I do think that this game is going to have a storyline to follow. So it's not going to be so much of just a load in, rinse and repeat. I do think that there's going to be an actual storyline to follow. Because if you go into the Steam page, I believe it is, their description is you become a descendant and you're given the mission to fight invaders for the survival of humankind. And if you make it to the end, you finally discover the descendant's secrets. So it feels like there is like a storyline and there is a little bit of like a reason to complete this game, which I'm a big fan of. But yeah, like you said, the beta did not get a great response, and you touched on a lot of things. And another one of the things that you didn't touch on, and people were really, really kind of just like disappointed about this. And we talk about this all the time. The people that were like in the beta were saying that the world is lifeless outside of these missions. It's like they were almost saying that like if nobody initiates these missions, there's nothing in the world until you initiate the mission and have something spawn up. And I don't mean like there's not like like enemies or whatever. Like there is nothing. There's not even animals moving around. Like it's just a complete vast empty world. And we talk about this all the time. Like if you're gonna have an open world, like
You gotta fill it with stuff.
yeah, you gotta fill it with stuff. You gotta fill it with stuff. And the other thing that they were talking about is it's too easy. They felt like they were just kind of like mowing down stuff without too much. Because the way that I kind of like from the way that the people in the beta talked about it, it's like this is almost like a horde shooter where it's like you're getting waves of enemies, and they were saying that they would like mow down these enemies in just a couple seconds, and then you're just like kind of sitting there waiting like another 10 minutes 15 minutes for like other enemies to spawn, and you're like, well, this is boring.
When I first started doing my research, my initial thought when I was looking at it, I was like, wow, they got a lot of like, it seems like it's gonna be hordes of enemies all the time. And then I started watching it. It's like, no, there's not really that many enemies. And like you said, it just feels empty. And to that, like a lot of things, like the way it works is like, so with the world, there's missions that are scenario missions that are like, I think continuations of the story, and there's world missions. So like if it's anything like the division, like the world missions is when you like come across like random like spawns of enemies that you have to stop. And so if that's kind of what that is, um and kind of going off what you thought the story is, I think you're right. And even in the beta, and like I think IGN had like the first 17 minutes, there's definitely going to be a story mode. And that's going to be, I think there's something called the Iron Hearts where they have to capture these hearts that provide power, and they almost capture one, but the villain Corel, he gets it and like becomes super powerful. So I'm guessing that's going to kind of how it goes. Um, so I think you're right on with that kind of storyline, that there will be some, and I don't know if it's in depth, but definitely gonna have a good like foundation of a story into the game. One thing that I was curious about is like from the start of the beta, you only get 3 characters to choose from, and I was like, oh, so you only get 3 characters. During the beta, there was 9 total that you could end up having towards certain. Once you reach a certain point, you can unlock more and more playable characters that will have like different abilities and stuff like that. And each character you can equip up to 3 guns and then 4 equipment accessories, and those are all going to kind of depend on your play style. So that's cool. I feel like that's a really good positive for the game, is that we'll have the ability to like play the way you want in terms of like your play style and different like abilities to have with that. So I think that's pretty cool. But overall, I just other than that, like it feels like it's just a let's make a loot and shoot game. What do you want to call it? Loot and shoot. Like, and you know what I mean? So I don't think it has any like groundbreaking like elements of uniqueness to it. Sure, the story's unique, but other than that, like the gameplay and the feel of the game doesn't seem all that groundbreaking.
I'm right there with you, man. And like, I wanted this game to be cool because you know me, dude. Like, I am all about these epic boss fights. I love having a gigantic 60-foot boss just drop down into the arena, and it's like, it's go time. Let's and to do that with three of my friends, like that would be so sick. And it's like it almost like takes it back to like old school era, like Final Fantasy, right? Like it's like it's like a 4-on-1 against this like gigantic like beast, and you're just like, dude, I want this to be so cool. Like I want this so badly to be cool, and you're just like, it's not. It's not gonna be. And you know it's a free to play, so you know eventually it's gonna go pay to win and there's gonna be microtransactions all over the place. So it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, this is one that I think if it is free to play, I'll give it a shot. But at the same time, it's not going to be one that's going to really capture my heart, especially with there's a whole bunch of other new games coming out that I'm really more excited about. Or even like I know it's a long time coming, but the Division 3 once that comes out, like I won't have a life. You know what I mean? So unfortunately, this isn't a game that I think I'll be playing. But other than that, I just don't think it just doesn't have a wow factor to me.
Guys, we tried. We really tried. I want to first of all apologize to Adam for bringing this to the table. Because it I mean the trailer looked cool, right? Like I feel like
When I first saw it, I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be epic. It's gonna be some huge battles," and it just wasn't that. So
kudos Nexon Games on whoever you hired to do your cinematic trailer because you got me hyped on a game that I don't think is going to be very good to be honest. But yeah, so sorry guys. We talked about this one probably getting a thumbs down from the Let's Talk Nerdy crew. But you know what? I'm going to be honest. I'm going to give this one a try because it is free to play, and I do I love the epic boss battles, so I'm going to get in there. I'm going to see what it's like to do these epic boss battles with three buddies and see how it goes.